Welcome to I Can't Remember Shit, a memory podcast. I'm your host, Evan Barton, and every episode, me and a lovely guest take a topic of my choosing and discuss our favorite and least favorite memories related to said topic. To preserve the subjectivity of memory and to challenge our own brains, my guests don't know the topic ahead of time, which often leads us both to say, I can't remember shit. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of I Can't Remember Shit. I am geeked. I know I say that every episode because I have amazing friends and amazing people in my life, but I'm so excited to welcome back to the show, Jerakah Greene. What's up?
Hey guys.
Hey, bestie.
Hey, bestie.
Longtime listeners of the show, OG listeners of the show will recognize this voice from episode 2.
Yes, this grating voice.
Do you remember what we talked about? Literally what we kind of just talked about before I officially started.
I felt like we just talked about our coming out stories and how we Evan and I came out at the same time. It's why we became friends. Came out in French class is where we met.
Period.
There's a horribly embarrassing photo of us. I have salmon colored hair.
I'm wearing salmon shorts.
Yeah, and we're it was for superhero day for the
Spirit Week or something. Yeah.
And yeah, it's a horrible photo of us, but that was the year that we became friends. And
Absolutely.
We came out at the same time, and our trajectories were pretty similar.
I think even to this day.
Yeah.
we're just talking about gender journeys and kind of I do think you started a gender journey before me, but I think we started questioning it around the same time, started expressing it around the same time. And we're really there for each other.
Yeah. Well, and it's never been a linear thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Our gender journeys, we'll be on this journey until we die,
Yeah.
And so it's been fun to kind of be with each other as we're figuring out, we were just talking about how to dress to match our genders and stuff. And
yeah. I think in that episode we talked about your saga of being bi, being lesbian, being bi, being lesbian, being bi, being lesbian.
Okay. Oh, I thought that was in the past.
But still her story. She, her story.
Yeah, no, I came out 11 times.
Yeah. Well, set the record, baby. But I'm so excited to have you back. That episode I think the topic was explicitly self-expression or self-actualization. And we both took the route of talking about our sexuality as a form of self-actualization because at that time, and I think even to this point, it still is an extremely important part of my understanding of who I am is number one, I'm gay.
Yes. Yeah.
It is my entire personality, actually.
Yeah, same.
Which I find interesting that people are now becoming so anti-that, so anti-gay being your personality. It's everyone's personality.
Well, and I think that comes from sometimes it comes from a lack of community. When you are enmeshed in queer community, it is your personality because those are the people that you're constantly in contact with and interacting with and supporting. And so the idea of trying to remove your queer identity or your sexual identity from the rest of you, I just find to be really counterproductive to the larger mission of liberation.
Yeah, absolutely. I love talking about this stuff with you because you have a very well-read perspective on it, and obviously you're super articulate. So I love getting to hear things from the way that you portray them because almost every time I'm fuck yeah, that's how I feel. So obviously,
I'm really smart.
You're really smart.
I'm so smart.
Check that MFA. You're weaponizing that MFA.
I sure am. I spent enough for it.
Yeah. Well, welcome back to I Can't Remember Shit, Jerakah. We did this 4 years ago, and I didn't do my research on remembering how we answered it this time. But the show structure has kind of changed a little bit. We typically start off with a jaunt down memory lane of our first memories of each other. And you kind of teased it a little bit, but I want you to kind of tell the whole story if there is a larger story to our first, encounters and understandings of who each other are.
Well, I remember it like it was yesterday. Evan and I met in freshman year of French class, but we were also in the same, I don't know, what was that called? Homeroom situation?
Activity? No, it was, what do they call that? It was assembly period.
Assembly period, yeah. And we had a professor. We had a teacher who I won't get into that.
Yeah,
but
I was like, was it a gym? Were we in the gym?
Yes, it was. Our like assembly period was in the gymnasium.
Yeah.
But so we met in freshman year of French class. I saw Evan and I was immediately like, that is a gay. Yep. But I didn't know yet that I was gay. And I actually went through a super jealous phase where there was a couple of girls in our class who were like super kind of like preppy and like, I don't know, I guess popular.
Yes. The popular girls?
Yes. Oh, the popular girls.
I so
And
know them.
Evan at first was like kind of hanging out with them in French class. And I was super jealous because I was like, Evan doesn't know it, but like we are best friends. And eventually I mean, for me, it just happened really organically, but eventually I don't know which one of us came out first, but we kind of came out around the same time.
I feel like I told you in the car driving somewhere, like either to your house. Like I remember it being on 244, like
right.
Or I don't know. Were we on the phone? Like I can't remember.
I cannot remember that, but I do remember sort of just like helping each other through that. And we kind of started, I feel like, this sort of like chain reaction.
Oh, baby, we were the trendsetters.
All of our friends, like within the next like year, like came out as well.
Megan was first, actually.
Well, Megan was like gay out of the womb. I feel like that doesn't count. But yeah, and so then we all sort of like, we all joined our school's GSA.
Yeah.
And just kind of like, I don't know, like sort of built up this community. But yeah, like I can't remember like the first conversation that we had, but I feel like we have been friends like forever.
Yeah,
you know?
It's actually more than 10 years now, which is awesome. And I love saying that. It's so fun to get to the decades.
It's so fun to be old.
It's so fun to get to the decades of friendship era though, because like prior to like in high school, or I guess just like growing up for me, I moved schools and moved towns enough to like lose friends at that young age. So like most of my longest friends are from high school, and like, yeah, high school's getting like further and further away. But like I've had Miles on the show. You and Miles like are truly, truly like some of my longest friends and also like some of my best friends, which I love. And it's so funny because like you and Miles have history before that of going to elementary school together.
That makes it sound so dark.
No, I mean it's just it's just Smallsa in a lot of ways, which I love Smallsa, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
So my version of the story is obviously not too much different, but I feel like some of the things specifically that did bind us together, like probably quicker and made us friends, were specifically we talked a lot about superheroes together.
We sure did.
And you were able to like invite me into the fandoms that you were a part of, Super Hulock, and kind of like, I know I'm really
call me out.
I'm doxing you with this interest.
My Tumblr is deleted. You couldn't find it if you tried.
But I was on that Tumblr as a way of like catching up on kind of who you were online, but also like knowing who you were in person. And that was awesome. And we talked a lot about, we were also in drama together, which I want to say like freshman or sophomore year. It was like one or the other.
I think it was freshman and sophomore year, because I then joined theater, which is a different class, in junior year. So because we did Dracula sophomore year together, we did Dracula. We were Mina and Jonathan Harker. We were married, which was, I think, like
that's where Wife for Life came from.
Yeah, my contact in Evan's phone is Wife for Life, and Evan's is Barton Bitch, and mine, and has been forever. And I remember the day when my mom, I was like, showed her a text from you in high school, and she was like, Barton Bitch, you can't say that. And I was like, Mom, like I'm so cool. Anyways, so we like started this like sort of like faux like I don't know, like relationship,
Beard, lavender relationship,
literally. But like we've fucking carried on forever. Like we
to this day.
Yes, like that. Like Evan is my partner. Sorry to my wife, but Evan.
Well,
is my
your
first
literal
wife. my literal wife, but Evan is my first love.
The week Port was on, it was the week of the marriage. So like I said, sorry, Port, I'm still their wife. But yeah, I mean, we like at the time, I remember like fully not ever having a friend that was like into the same things as me. Like I wonder if these popular girls that we're talking about are going to listen, because I do see them sometimes in my stuff. But like I came to realize like very soon in high school that like I had been trying to be friends with people that were not trying to be friends with me, story of my life. And once I made a shift into kind of valuing the relationships that I felt like were investing back into me, like it became very clear that like you were that person for me. And I feel like that's when our relationship like really, really blossomed. And it's still to this day, like we visited each other in college, which was awesome. I mean, I went to Chicago for like the first time.
Hives. And it was terrifying. We had to walk like 20 minutes in the snow to
That was crazy.
the Walgreens so I could get Evan Benadryl because I thought he was going to die on my couch.
Which was like a wild thing because we literally got drunk in high school together, like at your house and at parties.
Oh yeah,
and
it was
stuff.
like an allergic reaction to like some like fruity vodka.
Fruity vodka.
And, oh my God, I was like so scared. But
well, and that happened in college. That developed in college. Like something biological changed in me.
Biological.
Something has changed within me.
But we had just left a Florence and the Machine concert, who we've seen twice together. We also saw Lorde together.
We've done some
and the
of
first time
ones.
we saw Florence, Grimes opened
I know.
up,
I was like, we
crazy.
have to talk about Grimes. That's like, and we can talk about it now since it just came up naturally. But like, fuck her.
Yeah,
fuck Grimes. She released a song today called IDGAF, which I feel like it has to be a response to like all the gay community.
Apparently it's like a really old demo, but I was like, girl.
It can't be that old. She's been with Elon for that like a long ass time. Not been with Elon or whatever, but did you see that she like tweeted at him like, Elon, I need you to respond to my message about our child's mental and physical health. You need to get someone. And I was like, we are in a
we live in a
society.
Dystopia. Like, it's crazy.
Well, and like I hate that I fucking like actually liked her at some point.
Well,
like,
yes, Oblivion is a fabulous song.
And Art Angels, that whole album, like I think it was at a time where I felt like musicality and my queerness were really blending, and I knew that I was listening to a queer artist when I was listening to Grimes. I don't know if she's queer now.
No, she's just like a fucking alien, I guess. I don't know.
She's just a genderless, sexuality-less alien.
I like still think that those like early albums are like really good albums. Yeah. I am not a Grimes apologist, but unfortunately, those early albums, they're always going to be in my discography.
Well, and
I think they're
amazing. There is literally a perspective on those. Like they're speaking from a human experience.
Yeah.
And I think that's present in the lyrics, but also just like at the time, Grimes was like a stepping stone from Crystal Castles for me.
Totally.
Which I love me some Crystal Castles. Now stream Alice Glass. Don't stream Crystal Castles, except I keep doing it. Anyways, our music tastes have always aligned. We've always had these interests that I feel like we've always been able to connect on. One other one that I'm going to jump into really quick is the super part of Super Hulak, which is supernatural. You like introduced me to like fan fiction and like this like queer literary world that existed on Tumblr, but like also was a way to like dive into the fandom of your communities in different ways. Did you know that Jared Padalecki was cast in The Boys for their final season? And so Jensen Ackles and Jared are going to be on the final season of The Boys.
Yes, and I did hear about this, and it's also drama because I don't know. There's been like a lot of drama with like all the actors like post Supernatural.
Yeah.
I would like it to be known, I haven't watched Supernatural in a really long time.
How long's a really long time?
Like a really long time, Evan. Like since high school. And I can't believe you're calling me out about Supernatural for all the world to see. No, I was like, I mean, I was one of those like Tumblr kids who learned how to dissect media from Tumblr.
Yeah.
You know, like I loved English class. I have 2 degrees in English now, but like I was always a very like literary person, and I always was really into, you know, sort of like analyzing media, but it was places like Tumblr that gave me the tools to do that. Mina Lay, YouTuber, slay icon, actually just released a video essay where she talks about this.
I know exactly. I think Caroline watches her too.
Yeah, she's amazing. But she actually just released a video essay about sort of like online media literacy, and she talks a lot about Tumblr and talks a lot about the ways that Tumblr sort of like primed an entire generation to be like very like media critical. And I was definitely one of those. And Supernatural and Super Wholock. I mean, I liked Supernatural a lot. I was a Doctor Who kid, which
Yeah.
I don't know if that's more or less embarrassing, but like
No, I think Doctor Who has a longer
legacy, right?
Basis. Yeah.
But like all of those shows, the whole Super Wholock like trinity, right? Like I was obsessed with them because you were constantly bombarded on Tumblr with all of these different people who were finding meaning in it.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
It was just really cool to like be part of a online community that was so engaged in the media that they were consuming. And then of course, like it took a very dark turn, and a lot of like what I ended up sort of kind of running away from when I like ran away from Tumblr was a lot of like really like, and this is kind of dark, but like a lot of like really gross like sexual like I don't know.
Fantasies
Like the fan fiction got like really gross and dark, and like you could really go down a rabbit hole to some really, I think, dangerous like ideas.
Yeah.
And that was part of what sort of made me like kind of step back. And there's like a whole other conversation that we can have eventually about the fact that like straight women and queer women were writing these gay fan fictions, and that like there were no lesbian characters, like there was no like lesbian fan fiction being written because there were no female characters, but it was like all like women writing butt sex between men, and it was like yeah, exactly. And so it was just kind of I do find that conversation to be like really fascinating, because it was like a huge part of like that online community.
Well, and we grew up online. Like I think that you and I and our generation, Gen Z millennials, a lot of millennials also grew up online, but like,
well, to quote Lord, maybe the internet raised us.
Please continue quoting our Lord and Savior. I need more quotes from her. But yeah, we grew up online, and that I think we were some of the first generation that had to essentially establish an online presence whilst existing with a physical presence. And for some people, those merged and never separated again. And that is like, I think, a really fascinating like element of it.
Yeah, well, and I think like there's this huge argument for queer community online. I actually argue sometimes against it because I think that I do think it's important for like rural queers to be able to find community on the internet because they can't find it in their very rural, isolated communities.
Yeah.
But I think that for a lot of other queer people, we have used the internet as a crutch to find community. Whereas like, I mean, we're talking about Tulsa, right? Like Tulsa has an insanely huge queer community. We have like a nationally ranked equality center, right? Like we have a huge community here that exists in person.
Yeah.
And I think that
with its faults,
of course.
Yeah.
But when we talk about sort of just like only relying on the internet to save us, I think, well, my personal opinion is that we are going to live to see the fall of the internet.
Yeah.
And I just don't think that we can count on it to be the community space that we actually need. I think we need IRL mobilizing.
100%. And I think that's becoming apparent in this current political landscape and everything. So I don't know, we've gone on a little bit of a tangent, but I think it's really important because obviously this is the things that we talk about in our free time and in our friendship and how we connect. But it's also really, it's important shit that I think I love to bring to the show because like we are existing and living in the moment, and I don't know, the whole thing.
I don't know, you
real.
are my lifeline to this community. Like I left Tulsa to go to college. I've been gone for almost 7 years, and I came back, and I've been so far removed from the community that raised me. And coming back, I've really sort of leaned on you, I think, to like keep me in the loop and like remind me of like what has been going on around Tulsa that I missed. And I've really appreciated our friendship because you have like been here, whereas like I think I don't know, I just think I really need you in my life.
Oh, I think the same. And I appreciate that like specific form of compliment because like I do my best to be in person and to build community. I like have found it, in fact, like particularly like not devastating, but just like really hard to build an online community. My online presence and my in-person presence, it's the same person. I'm the same person on both. And I don't really feel like my like personality translates well online in some ways because I have nuance to me. I have just things that I'm more comfortable making a joke in person, or like, I don't know. I've struggled to find online community because it doesn't appeal to me as much. And so I don't invest in it as much. And so then I'm one foot in, but the other whole foot is out of it. Or, you know,
I think we should all delete Instagram. Inflammatory statement.
Which is what you're going to see this clip on Instagram. I think we should delete it. But no, that's an important point. Okay, so I am really, really, really stoked to tell you what our topic is right now for this episode. Are you excited?
Yes.
What do you think we're going to talk about today?
Okay, well, my original thought was that we would rehash the original episode.
Okay.
And just talk about like our coming out stories, which I didn't re-listen to that episode.
Me
so
neither.
I was like, okay, we'll see if I'm consistent.
Yeah,
like, we'll
absolutely.
see if I'm telling the truth.
I love a consistency check.
And then I did think that maybe we would talk about pop music.
Okay.
Those were like my two like main ideas about what we would talk about today.
Those are great guesses. Great guesses. I am happy to tell you you're wrong, which is fun because I love to sneak it in and you know just be unique and mysterious. But
unique and mysterious. That's so you.
It's so me, you know, just mysterious. All right, Jerakah, I'm really excited for us to dust off our filing cabinets, dive into our hippocampuses, and begin our reminisce into the topic today. And our topic today is Mother herself, Lady Gaga.
Yes!
You guessed this when we hung out at the Max last month. You're like, you're going to have me on and we're going to talk about Lady Gaga or some shit. And I was like, you were like hounding me like to react. And I was specifically not reacting because like I have a legacy to uphold. I have never spoiled a topic for someone.
Well, I love spoilers, so I was very much trying to get you to spill. But I had like a slight inkling that we were going to talk about it. So Evan and we went to a dinner party on Tuesday, and there was a moment where we were like walking out to go smoke, and Evan turns around, just like spins around on your heel, and you were like, and we just sang it together, and it was amazing.
Because we hadn't had a chance to talk about it.
No, we have not had a chance to really talk about Abracadabra.
Oh, I love it. But yeah, we're talking about Mother herself, Lady Gaga. She is, oh my gosh, like one of the only, like I think about my idols. I think about my pop divas. Who's your pop diva? Everyone has one.
Well, you're a tater tot now.
Exactly. She really is one of them. But everyone has a pop diva. There's Madonna, there's Mariah Carey, there's Beyonce. Mm-hmm. Lady Gaga is like fully that one for me. I've grown up with her, and you and I have had many installments where like anytime something Gaga drops, we talk about it. Mm-hmm. Since like Joanne, when we were talking about it in person when we were in high school, but then Joanne happened when we were in college, and we're like, what do you think of Joanne? We were always connecting on Gaga. It's a touchstone in our relationship. And it actually, like, I will get emotional talking about her because, like, I do think that her artistry absolutely has shaped who I am as a queer person. It's been really interesting recently. I listened to a podcast of ladies that I love, Nympho Wars, and they are, like, so hot and cold about Gaga, but, like, as I've realized after listening to them for so long, they actually love Gaga. Like, they like really do in the same way that I do. They just aren't afraid to be like critical of her.
Yeah.
And we should be critical of people that are famous and that we hold in such high regard. I think I was like a Gaga apologist to the point where I saw no fault.
Right. No gods, no idols, no heroes.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Well, I so agree. I don't know. This is weird segue, but when I was in church, when I was a Christian, like a principle of Christianity is to like not have any idols, and idolatry is bad. It's like, it's essentially one of the 7 deadly sins. It's not explicitly, but it is like as bad because like no one should be upheld to a certain standard in the same way as like our one true God or whatever.
There's a fabulous Paramore song about this.
Yeah. Playing God?
No idol.
Oh, idol, period. Oh my God.
No, it's called idol worship. The song
idol,
is called
yes,
idol worship.
Idol worship, absolutely. But yeah, it's interesting because like she was one of the first artists that I think I did interrogate that like concept with, because there was something, I don't objectively think that she's done anything disparaging to my fundamental beliefs of why I love her. Like she's never done anything bad to the community.
Morally, never morally have I ever been like upset with Gaga. It is more of
it's artistically.
Yes, like artistically, I have been very disappointed in her. And I'm really excited to talk about this. We have talked about this at length. But yeah, no, she is it.
Yeah.
To me, Gaga is it.
Yeah.
There has never been anyone like her. They could compare her to Madonna. They can compare her to fucking whoever. There has never been anybody like her. And I don't know that there ever will be again. I think that she is a completely unique artist who I think has like defied everybody's expectations. Yeah. Sometimes I think for the worst.
Yeah.
But I think that she is, I think she's it.
I think she's the ITGIRL. But let's like actually dive into some of our memories of Gaga. We start with our favorite, and I would love for you to start. You can take time to think about this if you want to think about something in particular. But typically I'm thinking while you're talking, you're thinking while I'm talking. That I don't know.
Yeah. My favorite Gaga memory. Well, it is kind of hard. Are we going to go first memory eventually?
I would say a good segue into your favorite is your first.
Okay.
So like go first and then into favorite.
My first Gaga memory might be one of my favorite Gaga memories. So I was driving down to Houston with my parents. I was maybe 10 or 11 years old. And I was driving down to Houston. We were going to stay with my gay uncles. And I downloaded Bad Romance, Poker Face, and Just Dance because those were like the big singles at the time. And I downloaded those singles to my iPod. And I listened to those 3 songs on repeat for the 8-hour drive.
Absolutely.
When we got there to visit my uncles in Houston, gay, and I told them that I had been listening to these Lady Gaga songs, his name is Randall, and Robert, they were like, oh my God, we have the CD. We'll just burn it for you. So they burned the CD for me. We drive back to Tulsa. I'm finally able to download it, the whole CD, onto my iTunes and onto my laptop. And it was the Fame Monster. And it sort of just like started this lifetime obsession.
Yeah.
And so like I just very specifically remember that drive, listening to those songs and knowing that I was like hearing something I'd never heard before. And then like, I don't know, like I will never forget that drive.
Well, and you heard Gaga on the radio. Like those songs that you're talking about were freaking huge commercial successes. So it wasn't just a like, oh, I discovered this artist I like. I discovered this artist that like is literally everywhere right now and is the pop girl, and other people are listening to Gaga, and but I love her more. Like it became this like competition almost.
It did.
Which I love.
Which like we do love her more.
Yeah, we get to love her more because she loves us.
Exactly. Mother.
Okay, so then it's so funny. I'm gonna also share my first because it's like low key, so similar. My whenever I was in 4th, 5th grade, my parents are divorced and had been divorced for quite a bit of time at that point. But we moved from Muskogee to Tulsa for me to go to elementary school and then eventually middle and high school. It's really the only reason that I ended up meeting you was because of that move with my mom. And so the way that the custody arrangement or whatever worked out was that I could go see my dad whenever I could, but whenever I could wasn't very often. And so at the time, my stepmom worked in Tulsa at Hillcrest Medical Center. And there was one night a week where she was able to make it work to where she could take us home from work to spend the night at my dad's just to get up the next day and drive back to school. And so we got one night in Muskogee. And on those rides home, it typically was just me, I feel like, on those rides for some reason, because like my brother either like didn't go with us all the time. But my stepmom had the Fame Monster, the Fame on CD, and her and I would scream sing the like whole album over like every time we did that drive, which is weekly on Wednesdays. And like, I think that was when she knew I was gay.
Yeah.
But like that drive and listening to Gaga in the car, I remember like Paper Gangster and like The Fame and like, it was The Fame and also a little bit of The Fame Monster. I think we like literally would just switch between the two.
Which like half of it is the same album.
Yeah, and then at some point they were all released together and everything. But like it was the same thing of like a drive and like there's the time is passing so fast because I'm listening to something that I love and like it. And in so many weird ways, like it being with a family member that I think was one of the first family members to like get who I was, even though she wasn't my biological like parent. I think Stephanie has kind of always understood who I was for a long time. And I think that
and
helped.
I think that's really, so that reminds me too of, so I took my mom to see, well, I took my mom. She took me. I was 11. She took me and one of my friends to see Lady Gaga in Oklahoma City. And there is a picture of us. We're like, right like to the very like side of the stage. Like they weren't great tickets.
Yeah.
But it was, and in the photo I'm wearing like a Paramore shirt and a Hot Topic tutu and pink and black checkered leggings and a big pink bow in my hair.
I love it.
Again, I was like literally a kid.
Yeah.
But my mom was not into Gaga. My mom is very much like, 80s goth, like wasn't gonna be like listening to this like pop girly.
Yeah.
And then we saw Gaga live and it was the Monster Ball. And my mom became like a convert. Like she was like, oh no, Lady Gaga is it.
Yeah.
And so then my mom started to listen to Gaga and my mom and I would do this thing. We would go to the grocery store, Reese's on 11th, or on 15th.
Yep.
And we would buy every single magazine that Lady Gaga was on the cover of
awesome.
Or like in. And I don't know how to describe this to someone who didn't live it, but Lady Gaga was on the cover
of every magazine.
Every single magazine.
Yep.
I mean, she was everywhere. It's not even like now where like Doja Cat will be on the cover of like, like Vogue India or like whatever. It's like Lady Gaga was on the cover of everything. And you couldn't go to the store without seeing her in some insane fashion spread for some insane magazine. And my mom and I would buy them every single time we saw one. And I made a collage in my room, like a huge collage on my wall of different Lady Gaga photos. And then my mom and I, whenever we would drive to the car wash, we would always listen to Gaga because, it was like we were in the club. But like, so I have like really fond memories of my mom and listening to Gaga. I saw Gaga with my mom twice. We also saw the Monster Ball again here in Tulsa.
That's amazing.
It was like, two of the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life.
Well, and I think you're touching on like one of the reasons that she has the staying power that she has is that she's able to blend that discography, the catalog of music with actual artistry on stage and in these other mediums. Like, I mean, she's absolutely a music video like mogul in some ways. Like she's
Marry
like
the Night
breathes
is one of the best
in.
music videos ever made.
Yeah. Absolutely. And like even these newer ones, like I like the Abracadabra video. I like the Disease music video.
Yes.
It's such a return to form for her.
Yeah, well that was when we were like, she's back.
Yeah, so she's back. But so I love that we have that like we get to share Gaga.
Yes.
And share Gaga with straight people.
Yeah. Well, and like
your mom's not straight.
Well, right. But like, my wife often, my wife will remind me that she also was really into Gaga when she was younger and went through like a similar Gaga obsession. But I will have to be like, I love you, but you're not Evan. Like there's actually only one other person in the world that will understand the way that I feel about Gaga. And
we're talking about the same ages that we like.
Yes.
We're a month apart.
We were doing this like on opposite sides of the city, not knowing who each other was, but like we were going through the same Gaga trajectory.
Yeah, and then we did cross paths, it's crazy. I love it. I love it. I love it. Favorite memory has it come to mind yet?
Your favorite memory
Yours,
or mine? Oh.
Yeah.
Well, I would say probably I do really remember the Marry the Night music video dropping. The Marry the Night music video, well, Born This Way is my favorite Lady Gaga album. By far, it is my favorite. I think it might be her best. I think
Magnum opus.
I think that Born This Way is a perfect album. Like top to bottom. I think you could argue that Fame Monster is objectively better, but I think that Born This Way is a perfect album. And
I was gonna say more hits, but like I don't think that's necessarily true.
No, I think Fame Monster is like, I think the Fame itself is every album or every song is a single, like pretty much. I mean, there's even music videos for
like Beautiful Dirty Rich
exactly.
and stuff.
But Born This Way, the first song on Born This Way is Marry the Night. And so I remember when that album came out, making my mom listen to it with me in the car on the way to school. And the Marry the Night came on, and my mom was like, this is annoying. This song is annoying. And I was
it's very anthemy.
And I was like, no, you're wrong. It's perfect. And then the music video came out. And, you know, it's like this 13-minute music video with some of the most like amazing visuals. I had downloaded it to my iPod. And I just like so specifically remember watching it over and over and over again and memorizing her monologues. You know, like I had lost everything, but I still had my bedazzler. Like, and also there's that scene of her in the bathtub in the Marry the Night music video dyeing her hair.
Yeah.
And also on the Born This Way album is the song Hair. And the first time that I ever dyed my hair myself, I wore the Lady Gaga shirt that I bought at my first Lady Gaga concert when I was 11 years old. And I was probably 14 at this point. And my mom was like crying. And she was like, I remember when I did this for the first time. And I was like, no, Mom, get out. And I put on Hair and I dyed my hair in my Lady Gaga shirt listening to Lady Gaga. And I just like...
And then you had vivid hair for like 4-ish years.
I dyed my hair for forever. But like, I think for me, like my memories of Born This Way are, I mean, that was like the Gaga era for me.
Yeah.
And the Marry the Night music video, I like remember being at like a birthday party and being in the corner watching the video over and over instead of engaging with my friends because all I wanted to do was talk about Lady Gaga and nobody else did.
Yeah. That's so interesting. I love that. That video is really interesting. I've heard many takes on it now, like from haters.
They're wrong.
Well, and like I think that video in particular is like one of those things where not a lot of artists were doing that at the time, which is like the whole point of why I think Gaga is essentially a cultural like icon, is because she did stuff with her music that no one else was doing. And, you know, making a 13-minute long video that has these interstitials, like monologues and insane, like elaborate Ryan Murphy, American Horror Story ass fucking like visuals and scenes being played out that all connected to the theme of the song, you know, in some way, shape, or form, I think is like, it's so amazing. And it being impactful to a young queer kid, it like makes so much sense because like, I feel like you saw her figuring it out. You saw her like trying to understand things in the artistry, which is awesome.
And I would almost like disagree that I as in like, I don't think that I saw Gaga figuring anything out. For me, she was almost I don't know. She was
like fully realized.
Yeah, like she was an artist who only cared about the art. And her vision felt so singular and so accomplished and like mastered, right?
Yeah.
That when she started experimenting with other genres and she started sort of like stripping back the persona, that was when I sort of like lost faith in the vision, because to me, she always was so polished. And then all of the sudden, I mean, I remember in one of the magazines that I had bought with her on the cover where there was a quote when she was like, my fans will never see me wearing jeans. And then of course like Joanne happens and jeans are like the whole thing. And I just like, I remember feeling a little sense of like, jeans. Well, I feel like I remember a little sense of betrayal of being like, oh, like Gaga's not Gaga anymore. Like she's Joanne and that this is a different persona. And having her being so like ingrained in my adolescence, that was really actually hard for me to come to terms with.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and artists do persona shifts all the time, and I don't really feel like hers has been very like seamless compared to other people. Like Sasha Fierce and Beyonce are like essentially the same person, but like I think Beyonce created a concept of who that was, and that music was captured in that. And like Cowboy Carter, not really a persona shift, but like is a genre shift that essentially has created its own persona as a part of it.
Yeah, but still, when you listen to it, you're like, oh, I'm listening to Beyonce. You know, like you don't sort of like lose sight of her artistry or like mastery of her music.
Yeah.
Whereas like I do think that with Gaga, there was that sense of figuring it out was very palpable and very public. And I think that I think that Little Monsters had a hard time adjusting to that persona shift, or at least I did.
Yeah.
I love Joanne. I think it's an amazing album. I don't know that it's the best Lady Gaga album. You know what I mean? Like
I will say it's not.
I definitely struggled with that shift because
and then into Cheek to Cheek, and then into this whole like fully losing sight of what the original persona was, or like I feel like it was, we went from Lady Gaga to Joanne to Stephanie.
Yes.
And then there's this whole actor persona thing that is also wrapped up in this.
I wish that she would have used her real name for her acting roles, because
to this day,
again, I still think that the idea of Lady Gaga acting her ass off in shitty movies, I think is really, I think it hurts the Gaga, like, I don't want to say brand, but it is a brand, you know?
And like House Labs too, like, is that a Stephanie thing, or is that a Lady Gaga thing?
The House of Gaga used to be this
like artist collective,
you know, like
of her
couture
friends.
sort of like fashion house. It would have made more sense to me, and we're getting into now like the sort of like, these are the conversations that Evan and I have been having lately, because Gaga has been disappointing, at least me, for a long time.
Yeah.
But like the House of Gaga used to be this couture house where I felt like it would have made more sense for her to go into like, you know, haute couture, like fashion design, and like to be like the next fucking Alexander McQueen, who she idolized.
And like had a relationship with, and all these things.
But then instead she went on to these really personal like goals that just felt so removed from the Gaga like persona.
Yeah, absolutely.
And House Labs being a continuation of the House of Gaga, I think is a really like cheap like iteration. I'm sure that it's good makeup. I don't wear makeup, so I don't really know. I'm sure it's great, but the idea of like the House of Gaga being these like sort of like couture designers and set designers, and then turning into, you know, like these fucking like, I don't know,
something that like
chemists making makeup.
Something that Trixie Mattel is doing like better than her.
Yeah. Well, and like even Rare Beauty.
I know,
think
like
it's, like,
Selena has
incredible.
it. REM Beauty. Like there are literally so many makeup brands out there, and she really went into a like oversaturated market.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it. Obviously, Gaga's always worn makeup, but I don't know that it was always about the makeup for Gaga. No. It was about the fashion, and so the venture into making skincare and makeup products didn't seem as like sort of genuine.
Yeah.
But then this is the issue, and this is like the question that I like have struggled with, and it is whether or not. Again, Mina Lay has a really great video essay about this, but her subject in this essay is about Lana Del Rey and the death of persona. And I think the issue is when we demand like, you know, a genuine or authentic persona from artists who have built a sort of larger than life thing. Mm-hmm. Gaga has now shown us who she really is.
Yeah, and she's
5'2". And we wish that she was Gaga, you know? And I think that can be really sad. I don't envy her for like having that.
Yeah, the culture of celebrity too. Absolutely.
But it just, for me, as someone, for her to be someone who started out only caring about the art and then sort of like shifting into like selling a product, I think has been really, it's really disillusioned me, I think, on like why I loved her.
Absolutely. Before I want to continue this conversation about like the negatives and things like that.
But first, a word from our sponsor.
Like after I tell you my favorite memory about Gaga, because it is, you've kind of touched on it in a lot of ways, or we've touched on the eras that this is going to be from. But like, I think that my favorite memory, and it is really I want to say, like, I think it's Love Game. Like that whole concept album, or that whole concept single rollout, the lyrics being what they are, which is like about sex and a smile on your mouth and your hand on your cup. Like I think that the reason that song and kind of like that, I think really got me is that I have to give it up for Mother. That's when I knew I was gay. Mm-hmm. Like that song and the sexuality that is in the lyrics and in the video and in the persona that she built into from that was not like it wasn't like sex shamey, and sexuality shaming was fully what my identity was wrapped up in at the time, because I was a Christian and because I knew that being gay was wrong. But like Lady Gaga was fully one of the first artists to like show or like create this like vision for me to see like her making out with like women and like having guys making out
in a much different way than I Kissed a Girl by Katy Perry.
Absolutely.
Is that, what a horrible time to be a kitty cat, can we just say?
She's going to space.
She's going to space. No, I think this is really fascinating, and it reminds me of something. So I just got gay married, and I have been like kind of working through a lot of my own feelings about like the marriage equality movement, and specifically about like assimilating into like hetero, culture, right? Yeah. And something that my wife and I are like very intense about is the idea that we won't assimilate, and there are ways that we can still like rebel against this like status and structure while and still be like dykes, right?
Yeah,
and still
absolutely.
be like very like militantly queer, right? And one of the things that we have been talking about is this idea of like, Portland's not going to let me keep this in the podcast, but is the idea of like fucking, right? So she really is not going to let me keep this in the podcast. Okay. So I'm not going to go too much into it.
Yeah.
But it is like the idea of like, instead of just like assimilating, like having this sort of like heteronuclear family, that instead like you like fuck, and like you are very much in tune with this like queer history of like sex as something that's fun.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to backtrack so that you can keep this part in. One of the things that I love about Gaga, and specifically the Fame Monster era, and I think also GUI on Art Pop, is the idea that she is fucking in a very queer way.
Absolutely.
And Gaga always said, like, now we know that she's like super straight, but she always said back in the day that like, of course she has fucked women, and of course she's always been like somewhat queer. But like romantically, of course, we know that like she's mostly into men.
Hetero,
But I think that what really attracted queer people to Gaga was this idea that she wasn't just like writing these like sexy anthems like some of the other pop girlies, like even like Kesha or like Katy Perry or whatever.
Yeah, other pop stars were doing
like
sex.
Like Rihanna's like singing S&M, fabulous song.
Yes.
But Rihanna's singing S&M. But what Gaga was doing was like fucking, right? Like she was doing something so much more like rebellious and kind of dirty, right? That I think queer people really responded to, coming off the heels of the AIDS crisis. And like, I just think that is part of the reason why we as a community responded so much to her.
100%.
And then us as kids getting into her, like, I mean, I don't know if she's the reason, but like
I'm kind of giving her credit for it.
Yeah, like I do think that she really like shaped the way that we view, or at least that I view my like sexuality, not just in terms of like my like lesbian identity, but just like in the way that I like view myself sexually. I think that Gaga had a lot to do with that.
Absolutely. No, I think that's hit the nail on the head right there with just like, I do think that she shaped a lot of who, like the way I consumed her artistry shaped a lot of who I am and how I understood myself to be, in that same way of like gender identity and sexuality, sexual expression. It's something that I do feel comfortable attributing to someone, because like I don't feel like at the time it was disingenuous. It was extremely artful and like purposeful. And I love the fucking Anderson Cooper video where she's like, he's like, your fans are asking if you have a penis, and she's like, so what if I do? Like, if you're a hermaphrodite, like all these things that are like,
the most popular Google search, because let me tell you, I Googled Lady Gaga a lot.
I
back
Googled
in the day,
this and the
the
whole
most
thing.
popular suggested search was Lady Gaga hermaphrodite. Like, and you would like go on Google Images and there would just be like edits of her with a dick. And I think that Love Game is her really poking fun at that rumor.
Yes.
And I also think, I think now we think of Gaga as like a very beautiful woman, but when she came onto the scene, she was not. Like, people did not
People
think
did
that
not
she
like
was
her
hot.
look.
People thought that she was really ugly.
Ugly, yeah.
And then you had like us. Like, I mean, I was very attracted to Lady Gaga. Like, she was like,
well, her videos were hot. Like,
they were so sexy.
Yes, like all of that sexuality that I feel like as a kid was repressed and, internally shamed out of me or whatever. And also like I internalized a lot of that shame. Like, she was an escape for
Have you ever seen Gaga
live?
Live?
Yes.
Okay. When did you see her?
It's not, I was going to say it's not my least favorite memory, but it's not like my favorite.
It wasn't a good show?
Chromatica.
Oh, okay. Well, that explains it.
Yes.
So
this was like 3 years ago.
Have you seen the HBO special of The Monster Ball?
No.
Okay. Well,
Need.
First of all, you have to watch it.
Need.
But
I just recently watched the hot ones.
Well, I haven't watched it yet. But in the Monster Ball, one thing that she did when she sang Teeth was Teeth became like a 10-minute long song during the live show.
Yeah.
And what she would do is she would bring out this guy who kind of looked like Jesus. And she would, do some pretty like sexual things to him while she's saying, "Show me your teeth." But one of the things that she would do was go on this almost sermon and talk about how Jesus loved everybody in the room.
Yeah.
And she would be like, Jesus loves you with your ass up. And like, Jesus loves you even though you're gay. And like, Jesus loves me even though my tits are out. Like, she would do this. Again, it like became like a 10-minute song. Yeah. Interspersed with "Show me your teeth."
Show me your teeth.
And yeah, literally. But that was one of those things. I think that might have been like one of the reasons that my mom like really fell in love with Gaga back then. Was that punk. I think that, it was super punk. And that's the thing about Gaga, is that she was really punk. Read my essay on Substack comparing Gaga to Chappell Roan, who I also love. But there was something about Gaga that was so, like, we keep saying that she was, or I keep saying at least, that she was so polished in her artistry, but she was gross and dirty
raw,
and grimy. And she came from the gutter in New York, and you could feel that in those early albums.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, and I love her. It's sad to depart kind of like into this negative things that we're going to talk about now, which is kind of like our darker times with her, because like these high points we're talking about are such high points.
I mean, like
fully understanding who I am and my thing is something I'm giving her a small credit for, but like even these dark moments are not at all on the same scale. Like, this.
I love her more than I'm disappointed in her.
Exactly. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're going to now go into our memory dumps. If you go, your memory is stored in your hippocampus. If you go into your hippocampus and turn left, you fall down into the memory dump. And that's where we are right now while we are thinking about our least favorite memories related to Gaga. And
well, I know them.
You are welcome.
I have
to
them.
Go, please.
Which is just that I thought that Joanne is a good album. There are songs on Joanne that I like really, really love.
We got Hey Girl on Joanne.
We got Hey Girl.
That was like fully that was a world colliding for us because we obviously had that Florence connection as well.
And also John Wayne is like a Gaga song.
Yes.
Like a lot of the songs on Joanne don't feel very Gaga to me, but like John Wayne. Oh God, I don't want to talk about Ayo. John Wayne is like one of those songs that I consider like part of the Gaga canon.
Yeah.
Like I really love that song. But I think like, I don't know that I was really disappointed with Cheek to Cheek, mostly because I knew that it wasn't for me.
Yeah.
Like I'm not a jazz person. I have a lot of respect for Tony Bennett, and I do recognize that as like a passion project for her, right? Like it
was her like idol
yes.
and or like just artist to artist.
And it was a real chance for her to showcase her vocals. So like I 100% like I think that's cool. You can do that. Unfortunately for me,
you can do it twice, I guess.
I guess. Unfortunately for me, Chromatica was fine. I didn't think that it was a great album. There are songs on it that I really love. I thought that 911 was a really great return to form in terms of music video. Yes. Like it was really fabulous. I think that Babylon is a amazing song that people should talk about more. But I found that like a lot of the songs on Chromatica were really reaching. I mean, Rain on Me is one of like the worst Gaga songs. I'm sorry. It
doesn't feel like a Gaga. I like give it to Ariana.
So
more.
Bad. And like the music video, I'm sorry, the art direction of the Kindness Punks, which was like the theme of that, is so cringe.
I feel like that video gave me like Blue Man Group
my God.
like vibes.
Yeah. Well, I'm sorry, just like the idea of like the Kindness Punks are here to take back. I was like, please fucking stop.
Yeah.
Like I'm sick of kindness. Like it's time to
rebel.
we
were in such a time where like I didn't feel like anyone was being kind to anyone. No. It was like on the heels of Black Lives Matter. Like music's supposed to unite us, and like that was maybe her message, but like it wasn't.
And I could tell that she felt that she was releasing an album that the gays were gonna love. And I think that gay men did love it, but I don't think that it was a really good album. But Chromatica sort of started the like downturn for me.
Yeah.
And that she started posting on Instagram like she was like a 35-year-old woman on Facebook. And I know that 35 is not old. I know that's like exactly how old she is or whatever. Yeah. But I was just like,
it was her millennial, like
she started posting like these horrible selfies and giving us a glimpse into like her real life, right?
Like I'm in the studio again, you guys. Like she was,
and it was just kind of like, oh no, like the artistry is gone. Yeah. Like you are no longer, you no longer have a barrier between Gaga and Stephanie, and now we can see through the persona. And for me, it was one of like the most devastating things that like an artist could have done.
Yeah.
Because it
didn't happen naturally. No. It was happening purposefully in front of us.
I can handle a couple of bad albums.
Yeah.
But I could not handle, like I'm still a Swiftie.
I was like,
I'm still a Swiftie. But I could not handle the crack in the persona. Like, and not even a crack, but just gone altogether.
Yeah. It was not a part of
And then we
artistry.
had A Star Is Born, and then fucking House of Gucci, and don't even get me started on Harlequin.
Oh God.
So I just like this last sort of like chunk of Gaga, which has been like, 5 years now.
I was like, Stars Born came out in 2018. So we're talking almost 7 years.
That has been, these are the dark ages for me as a little monster.
Yeah.
Which is just that she's no longer Gaga.
Yeah.
And I think the death of the Gaga persona has been something that I've really struggled with as an artist myself, which is like, I don't think that you should have to throw your personality away. And I don't think that you have to be, quote unquote, like inauthentic in order to like, make art that people care about.
Yeah.
But I do think that I thought she was going to do something and go down in history as like, I don't know, as an artist as an Alexander McQueen.
Yeah, as a legend.
As a legend. But instead, it's almost sometimes also like RuPaul, I feel that way, like
absolutely.
Whereas like, oh no, like you're just like senile now.
Yeah.
And I think
they lose touch with who their like full like audience is.
Yeah. And so I think those are like, this is sort of just like
it's an era.
Yeah.
Of hers.
The era, my dark era.
Yeah.
With Gaga.
Well, not to copy or anything like that, but I think that my dark era started a little bit earlier. I think I mourned the loss of Gaga at Cheek to Cheek. I was like, she's not coming back. This is different.
I was like, maybe it's a blip.
We got like no reprieve from that either. Like there was not anything that I think maybe The Cure came out at some point.
That song sucks.
And it was so Joanne. It was
no, that song is anybody could have written that song.
Yeah. And it felt like someone did. It didn't, I don't know. I write all my own songs. I don't feel like she wrote that song.
That song sucks.
But it was in that era of her exploring kind of these acting gigs, It started with American Horror Story and ended up becoming
Which
these Hollywood
I think
movies.
American Horror Story, she was really good in it.
Great.
And
Won the Golden Globe.
It was Gaga.
Yeah.
Like, that was still Gaga.
That's when she should have received the acting credit as Lady Gaga. But I think you're exactly right with, like, at some point there needed to be, for the artistry to remain true in some ways, like a shedding of Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga was not in A Star Is Born. That to me was Stephanie, and it was Allie, because she also released music with that, which was like probably why she kept Gaga in it, because it was so much of her musicality.
And not that Spotify is a good metric of success, but her top songs on Spotify have been for a long time. All of those songs from A Star Is Born. Like, Hello.
Because it's a smash, but like it just also didn't. It did resonate for some queers that were in community with, but not the ones that like grew up in the same way with her as us. Like, I don't know. So I guess to nail down specifically, like, Cheek to Cheek was like my morning that I have only, I think, really recovered from. I enjoyed Chromatica. It feels like an album that I would enjoy if you know my music type. I mean, for God's sakes, I had fucking Blackpink on it. I love K-pop. Like, she actually like did some things there. But in terms of like this new stuff, where the mayhem we're about to get into
in
next
6 days.
week. Next week, I honestly wanted to like delay until afterwards.
I know. I kind of was like, when I saw that, I was like, oh God, we really could have. Well, we'll have to just. Bonus content.
But anyways, just to nail down specifically on that, like, I think that Cheek to Cheek and seeing Gaga fully genre shift for me, not in a way that I'm not saying it wasn't disingenuous, but in a way that like held no substance to the artistry that I thought that I really grew up in to admire, was the time for me.
Well, and I think like I think I can compare her to someone like Bjork, right? Who has kind of just always been a freak.
Yes.
And even though like early Bjork, she's wearing, like t-shirt and shorts and just like screaming into a mic. And then like later Bjork, that's now she has these like elaborate sets and prosthetics and she's doing something. I think that you can see a consistent through line between Bjork is a freak like the whole time, right?
Always been a freak.
She's always been doing like weird shit. And I think that she's never compromised on the fact that she's weird.
Yeah.
Whereas like Gaga seemed to almost like want to be respected in a different way. She wanted to be respected as someone who had the vocals or who had the acting chops, like wanted to be honored.
Not at all, yeah.
And for me, it was just like, I don't know if it is a thing of like wanting everybody in all of these different arenas to respect her, but I don't know why it couldn't have been enough for just us.
It was, there was a lot of, I don't love this term, but like clout chasing in some ways, because it was that like she had to have her stamp on everything. And
she wants that EGOT.
Yeah. Well, and I think I'm actually doubling down on like House Labs being my least favorite, like just memory in terms of like the Gaga persona, because like
it started out as an Amazon partnership. It was exclusively available on Amazon.
Well, and like I don't know who House Labs is for other than like the beauty industry. The beauty industry in general is something that I'm starting to become like indignant towards, because it's one, oversaturated, and two, like extremely fucking toxic.
And
like,
very bad for the environment.
Yes, it's cruelty free, but like, oh my God, how many fucking powder foundations do we need? Like, I don't.
How much plastic or paper packaging do we need?
Absolutely. Like, we're just at this point in capitalism and a industry that I do admire. I've literally had a whole episode on makeup and how I felt like it's been transformative to my self-image, but like, I just freaking wish that Gaga didn't get involved.
No, like I said, I think she should have started like a couture fashion house, but I don't think she can do it now.
No.
I think that she has gone a little bit too far to go back to who she was. And not to do your job for you, but now to transition into mayhem and becoming like obsessed with her again.
Yeah.
When Disease came out, I didn't listen to Harlequin. I'm going to be so honest with you.
I listened to it, but I didn't watch the movie.
I didn't listen. Probably will never listen. Yeah. Is that the Bruno Mars song is on that album?
No, it's on the
Mayhem. New one? Okay, well, that makes me a little less
longest
hopeful.
Spotify #1 in history, Die With a Smile.
Fake.
It's
fake.
charting insane. It's
That's
crazy.
Fake. It's not a good song.
There's just too many charts for that one to be important.
Yeah.
Like,
well, so I am very excited for Mayhem. When Disease came out, I remember texting you and being like, listen, I'm not obsessed, but it's a step in the right direction.
Absolutely.
Like I can tell that we're getting back. And then Abracadabra. Can we just take a moment for Abracadabra?
Abracadabra, abra, una, na. She's okay. Every good Gaga song has her saying Gaga in it,
and then also just like a bunch of nonsense syllables.
It's incantation speak.
Yeah, literally. Well, I fucking sorry, you said incantation. It reminded me that, and this is not on the podcast, but my dad and my mom and dad just got back from a Disney cruise.
Yes.
And my dad was like, "What's that song from Encanto?"
I love him so much. He's so real.
I agree with you that Gaga needs to be spewing a little bit of nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
This song felt so Born This Way to me. Like
visually, like and musically, it was right in there.
Yeah, and
we were like, is it Born This Way or early art pop? It's actually really
but
Born
the
This
music
Way.
video is fucking Alejandro.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, she is like so Alejandro coded
color
in the music
scheme,
video.
yeah.
I just like am, and the paparazzi callback.
Mm-hmm.
Like
the cane.
Exactly. I mean, maybe that's bad, but she looked awesome. But yeah, no, I thought that Abracadabra was like a perfect song. I can't stop listening to it. It made me like Disease a lot more.
Yeah, absolutely.
And it made me really excited for the new album. Because when Harlequin came out, I thought that was LG7. I was
really? Yeah.
I was like, this is what she's been teasing?
Can't.
Like, are you for real?
With Joaquin.
Literally.
That movie is bad, by the way.
I'm not going to watch it. Yeah. But
we'll see.
Mayhem is going to be amazing.
Mayhem is good. Is going to be good. I'm hoping. Knock on wood. But like I am excited. What we've gotten so far has made me excited, and I can't wait. It's going to be.
Are we going to have a listening party?
We'll have more things to say. Oh well, yes, I think we should, because it's like literally next week. Oh I'm so excited. Jerakah, we are in. Let's go into our last segment here really quick. I want to zoom out.
We've been talking for a really long time.
I know. I'm going to zoom out of Gaga and I want to just ask you like plainly, what are some things you want to make more memories of?
Well, something that Evan and I and our group of friends have recently instated is a weekly dinner night, a weekly dinner party at somebody's house. We're like rotating houses and we are just basically trying to create a weekly tradition of being together. It's so hard as adults now to find the time to be together. And I feel like every time we get together, there has to be like some special occasion or some reason for it. And now I'm feeling like we're making the time for each other. And that's something that is really important to me.
Yeah.
So I'm very excited to make those memories and document those together. And also it's spring and summer is approaching, and summer in Oklahoma is my favorite thing in the world. And I cannot wait to be at the river with all of my friends, drinking that QT Quitting Time beer.
Yes. Going to Blue Hole.
Going to Blue Hole.
Oh my God.
I just I need to
I put a lot of people onto Blue Hole because of you.
Well, stop.
It's too damn busy.
Stop. But no, I'm like very excited to like sweat with my friends and just like, I don't know, are we going to OKC Pride this year? Because it's actually in June.
I went last year and it was actually really fun.
I think that we should, because I can't wait until October to go to Pride.
To be gay.
Yeah, literally. Yeah.
June's so busy, but I love that. And I whenever like Tuesday happened, I was like, God, I love you guys so much. Like, and you're so right about that, like intentionality. We are now like a lot of each other's like longest relationships, and we're all here. Like, we're all here. That means something. And we might not always all be in the same town together again like this. Like, so let's freaking soak it up. And I think that we are. I love that, like in Port's absence, Megan and I got like really, really close, I feel like. And Megan is just like someone I love so dearly.
Yeah, shout out Meg, bro.
Yeah, she's like terrified to come on. She won't respond to any texts about it.
No,
it's hilarious.
It's really funny. She'll never do it.
But I'm like, she has so much to give.
No, you'll have to record her secretly. She'll never do it.
It's crazy.
Megan is our best friend who we love dearly. And who was my other first love, because we actually almost dated.
You and
I never had a chance.
But yes, I love that, and I think it's really important to name it. So this is a manifestation for you to make those memories, and you're already going into it, and we already are. Like, what a good, successful first week. So
I love you.
I love you too. We did it. We podcasted.
Wait, I want to tell you something.
Yes.
In front of all the world. I love you so much. I'm so proud of you. You have really made an incredible life and career for yourself. I'm proud of you. You've really come into yourself. You are seriously one of my best friends in the entire world. I cannot imagine my life without you. I missed you every day that I was gone, and I'm so happy to be back and get to talk to you and see you and love you and kiss you on the mouth right before I got the crazy flu. Or no, that was COVID. I kissed you on the mouth and then I immediately got COVID.
I didn't get it though.
No, I know, thank God. But I love you so much. I really am so incredibly, like unspeakably proud of you.
Oh, thank you. I really, really appreciate that. Your admiration, like, is held in very, very high regard to me. So thank you.
I love you.
I love you too. We did it. We podcasted. Thank you, all my listeners, for barreling through an hour of Gaga talk.
Stream abracadabra.
Stream abracadabra.
Stream mayhem.
It's coming out. It'll probably be out by the time this is out. But like you're getting what our anticipation for it. We're so excited. But thank you so much for listening to this episode of I Can't Remember Shit. Bye.